How to speak Russian broken English. The language of international communication is not really English but broken English. Besides, every nation breaks English in different places. Thai people say same. The Germans say person instead of people. It's common for foreigners to misuse prepositions and parts of speech, confuse many and much, good and well. But now, let's talk about Russian broken English, cause you'll certainly have to pretend to be Russian at least once in your life. If you wanna sound like a Russian, not just any foreigner, there are some tips that will improve your Russian accent. Let your W sound like V. The and th sounds should be th and s. Don't care for a length of a vowel. Use rolling R and so on. But that's not enough. Your English won't sound Russian unless you make typical Russian mistakes or if you use grammar structures which are difficult for Russians. Look, even though a real Russian would say listen. If you want to speak Russian broken English, you should follow these rules. 1. Sometimes skip or confuse articles a, an, the, and even auxiliary verbs am, is, are, or at least use only is. I, student. We, is, students. Speaking of the past, always say was. If you can't help using were, make it sound like were. Just change your intonation to turn a statement into a question. You was there. Also use to be verbs along with bare infinitives and also ing form verbs right after subjects. I am go to park. I going to park. Remember not to use perfect and perfect continuous tenses. Always use past simple instead of present perfect. Also, don't use give, tell, believe, think in a passive voice. If you still use the passive voice, use only past simple and future simple passive, not present. Number 2. Use ill, afraid, worth, late, proud as verbs and agree, cost as adjectives. I am illing. She lated. Do you afraid dogs? I am agree. 3. Use very in front of verbs, especially like, love, hate, want, need. I very like ice cream. I very want to come to party. 4. Sometimes say his instead of him, magazine instead of shop. Feel free to use borrow instead of lend and vice versa. 5. Accept yes I don't for no I don't and no I do for yes I do as the answers to negative questions. 6. Feel free to start your sentence with a place or time or anything at all. Practice saying object, verb, subject and subject, object, verb sentence patterns. You can even skip verbs, especially got, in negative statements with have. We to bar. In Moscow live I. Waze dropped your cat. I haven't money. 7. Don't use too many adjectives. Avoid saying hungry and thirsty. Say I wanna drink or eat instead. Don't use non-Russian adjectives such as imaginative, keen, willing. 8. Use it is instead of this, they are, or just it. If it is followed by adjective, feel free to turn it into an adverb. It's simply, it's correctly, it's obviously. If it is followed by an object pronoun, turn it into a subject one. It's I, it's she, it's they. Also say it for plural nouns if they are not alive. Give reasons. Russians may say they is the only used for people or animals. Also say it, plural nouns, if they are not alive. For some reasons, Russian may think they is only used for people or animals. 9. If that is a conjunction, substitute it with what. Right. He told us what his name was Tom. But don't change what for that in a sentence like he told me what his name was. 10. You may put to after modal verbs. Use must instead of have to, should, ought to be to, and even owe. You may say you haven't to do it instead of you don't have to do it. 11. Use will in reason clauses at the first conditional statements. 11. Use will in reason clauses of first conditional sentences. 12. Don't use any prepositions after verbs listen, wait. Use this preposition with those verbs: regret about, meet with, always but not with nice to meet you, talk with instead of to, answer to, follow to after or behind, depend from, of, but not on, happen with, to be good in, mean for. Use objects after say. Say me please, but don't use please too often. Also don't use please, bear, queue, and long as verbs. And remember, if you really want to sound Russian, make just these mistakes. Other kinds of mistakes may not sound so Russian.